Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. Each morning I awake recently by the television coming on and the news is being reported. Recently, the reports are the battle that's going on between Israel and the Palestinians. And immediately my ministry comes into focus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. That ministry suggests that we as human beings are obligated to a superior power, a power from which we came, and we can't actually put our finger on it and say that's it. But in the understanding that I have is an expression of that power through our existence is that there's a harmonious interchange between forces that allow this to exist. And so, as a human being myself who desires certain experiences to call this a wonderful life, I associate that to most people, or should I say all people. In essence, what I'm saying is that those things that makes life wonderful for Israel are the same things that would make life wonderful for the Palestinians. And yet, they are fighting, killing each other. And I ask myself, why is this happening? And the immediate answer comes to this. Israel have proclaimed themselves as a special group of people chosen by God. Palestinians have done likewise. Their God's name might be a little different, but the power base is the same. And yet I see these bombs being dropped. I see reports of children and older people on either side being demolished. And what do I interpret that or parallel that with? I parallel that with something like the Crips and the Bloods. The Crips love the Crips, and the Bloods love the Bloods, as the Jews love the Jews, and the Palestinians love the Palestinians. And each one would do whatever is necessary to protect themselves. And that is where I see my ministry comes in. Israel does not have the same love for the Palestinians that they have for themselves. Palestinians do not have the same love for Israel that they have for themselves. And it is that lack of love that permits them and allows them to shoot bombs and destroy one another. It is this lack of, should I say, the absence of this love from which I speak, that allows them to look out for each other's concern, to work in a way that would guarantee that what each of them want, they can receive. And to me, that is an absence of God. And while they both declare that God has given them the right to do this thing, I concur. Each man got a chance, got choices. And so they can do these things. But I declare it is not an expression of God's love as I understand it that allows this stuff to start, that allows it to continue. So, what I'm saying to you, the viewer, here is this, is how religion works, how this God thing works. We as human beings, for the most part, have relegated God to our interpretation, and our interpretation always gives us the power to put ourselves and our intentions as the noble, the most important role of God. In other words, we've personalized God. In reality, we are God. And the God that we express is a love for self and not others. And the result is what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Syria, what's going on in all of the hot spots around the world. A lack of understanding about God. or an understanding about God that has nothing to do with peace, prosperity, and joy. And while these hotspots might be engaging themselves today, you can bet your last money there are initiatives in process to spread this, not just in these places, but all across the globe. And the victims are the people. Yet, these things exist because the people permit them to exist. And the people permit them to exist because they do not understand what life is all about. They don't understand what God is about. And the reason that they don't understand is because they have been programmed by these systems, such as the systems that allow the things to happen in these hot spots. So I want you to pay special attention to this, ladies and gentlemen, because the ministry that I have is to say that you are important, every last one of you. And for those who are separate, you are important, but no more important than the others that are separate. You're just as good, just as bad, but no outstanding. So I approach you and say that in order to bring peace, in order to bring prosperity, in order to bring joy to the land, we have to go outside of ourselves and honor. If you don't want to honor God because you don't believe in God, honor peace. And you will learn that peace is about justice. So where there is justice, there is peace. Where there is no justice, there is no peace. And no one engaged in these situations are any better than the other. As you would say, the Crips are the Crips. You don't see any good in them. The Bloods are the Bloods. You don't see any good in them. And yet, you see every day what is happening in Israel and in Palestine with the Palestinians. The same activity of the Crips and the Bloods. So we must conclude that Israel and the Palestinians at this day is no better than the Crips and the Bloods. And the fact that you might support one or the other draws you into that circle of being no better than the Crips and the Bloods. I want to thank you so very much for listening to this, and I hope it has some significance in your understanding. Bye-bye.